The northwest trend is well underway, which means we are increasing our chances at snow for a more widespread area of the southeast for tomorrow, our Sunday. Here to go over all the new information that we have, and this is certainly going to make a lot of snow fans that live in the south happy, so I'm excited to go over this information. We'll cover all the individual model runs that we have first. We'll go over all those snowfall graphics. After that, I want to speak on the entire second half of January. I think is locked and loaded with winter storm potential for the next couple to few weeks, and not just for areas of the north, for areas of the south also. So we need to go over that. My name is Mitch. Good Saturday morning. Hope you guys are doing well. Subscribe if you haven't. Like the video if you like it. And if anybody has anything that I can pray about or pray over, please put it in the comments below. Let's get rocking and rolling this morning. Let's go over the latest Euro. We're going to start all guidance off with this evening. And I know I'm just showing really the southeast, and I know I'm cutting off the northeast. I'm gonna talk about you guys too, so just hold tight with me. Let's speak on the southeast first. So as you can tell, there's some moisture starting to bubble up across areas of the Gulf coastline, the deep south states. But as we start to move into tonight, like this is midnight, 1 a.m. tonight, you can see some moisture getting all the way up into the Carolinas, even some snow trying to break out now across areas of western North Carolina. If you've been tuning in for a while, you know that most of the moisture was confined to the eastern areas of the southeast. Now it is trended northwest, like I mentioned at the very beginning of the video. So we're getting a little bit of a rain-snow mix trying to show up across areas of central, north central Georgia, but it might still just be rain, might just be some feedback issues here on Weather Bell. But as we move into Sunday morning, you can see blue. That is snow, green is rain, starting to pop up across areas of the Panhandle of Florida, even all the way down here to Mobile, Alabama, all the way up to Montgomery, some snow breaking out across Columbus, and this is just rain. What's happening here is cold air is diving now from the northwest to the southeast, and there's a little bit of a lag effect as it hits the higher elevations of the southern Appalachian Mountains. So cold air is actually able to slip down here faster than it does here, where you have plentiful moisture now. So let's continue to move this forward. So we start to get into mid-morning tomorrow, just over 24 hours from now. We have a band of moderate snow breaking out from Dothan, Alabama, all the way up into almost Valdosta, up to Macon, down to the Panhandle of Florida. And then we got some rain switching to snow up here in North Carolina and the upstate of South Carolina. Snow's breaking out across the mid-Atlantic. We'll talk about that here in a second. And then we move into about Sunday midday, 1 o'clock in the afternoon. And we have moderate to heavy snow breaking out across central to south central Georgia down to the Panhandle of Florida. And then we move it one more panel, Sunday afternoon, snowing still in Georgia, snowing in North Carolina. And I know you're wondering, what in the world is going on in South Carolina? What is up with this little weird area here? I'm going to discuss it here in a second, but I live there. So it is bumming me out as a snow fan, and I'm going to talk about how what you're seeing here is a real possibility, but there's a possibility it does not happen also. But models keep showing it. But anyways, let's not get too hung up on that right now. But we continue to move forward. We get into Sunday evening, and we're ending at some snow in areas of North Carolina, Southeast Virginia, the Tidewater, and then the system heads out. So that's the Euro. What about the Euro across the Northeast? We've trended this northwest up here too, so we don't need to leave you guys hanging. This is Sunday morning. This is Sunday about midday, and check it out. The moisture has moved up a little bit to the northeast now. So this is light, moderate snow breaking out across the mid-Atlantic, the northeast, and we continue to go, and this is getting to Sunday evening, and check out the snow breaking out across areas of the coastal region of the Tidewater, the mid-Atlantic, the northeast, southern New England, and at the tail end of this storm, the moisture gets far enough north, meets the cold air, and we get a small-scale snowstorm from the Jersey Shore all the way up to southern New England, Long Island, and this thing tries to crank up and deliver a swath of accumulating snow from Boston up the I-95 corridor all the way into the down east areas of Maine. So, I mean, it's trending northwest for you guys too. We don't need to ignore y'all. The GFS now, we'll bump it back down to the southeast. What does it show? Well, same thing. We start to move into the middle of the night. Tonight, this event's right here in front of us. It's starting off as rain. Cold air has not moved in yet. Look, a little bit of snow in the mountains. And then we move into Sunday morning. And once again, you see this weird little warm bubble here. It's raining based off this model run. And Charlotte down to Columbia. Rain starting to switch to snow in like Augusta. But it is snowing on the GFS, the Panhandle of Florida. We're going to end up seeing snow tomorrow morning in Florida, folks. We're not, it's, in my opinion, it is a lock to happen. That's my opinion. Dothan, it's snowing. Columbus, is snowing. Up to Macon. Rain trying to switch to snow in like Valdosta. Snow's now making it all the way up to Atlanta. All right, we continue to move this forward. The GFS isn't as aggressive with this warm bubble as maybe the Euro is. It starts to switch to rain to snow in Columbia. It's now snowing moderately based off what this is showing in like Augusta. And look at this heavy snow in central to south central Georgia. It's heavy snow all the way to the panhandle of Florida. Geez, what is up with Florida getting snow before like the Piedmont of the Carolinas? It's just unreal. And then we get into Sunday midday. Rain tries to switch to snow all the way up into the Midlands. I think the Western Midlands. I mean, look at the low country of South Carolina. It's snowing. And then you continue to move forward. You can see the snow up in North Carolina, Southeast Virginia also. Raleigh, it's heavy snow. And then this thing wraps up. Now, same thing. What does the Northeast show? It's trended northwest. And now we get into Sunday midday. Look at this swath of snow from D.C., Baltimore, all the way to Philadelphia, through Delaware, New Jersey, New York City, Long Island. And then this thing tries to crank up and delivers a period of heavy snow from the eastern tip of Long Island through southeast Mass, heck, even Rhode Island. And it's still snowing all the way back here from, the Hampton Roads area, southern Maryland, northeast North Carolina. And then it wraps up. I mean, this thing could turn into a bigger snowstorm for Cape Cod and surrounding areas. So what about some short range models? Now, one would argue, Mitch, why are we even looking at global models this close? And I would argue that you should look at all model guidance, kind of compare everything, watch trends, and that's what I do here on my channel. But you look at the NAM, 3KM NAM. All right, and the timestamp is up here. We're in Eastern time, so pretty much all in the same time zone with this system. And same thing, we start to move into tonight. And look, it's already snowing in the mountains right now, and areas of the mountains. And snow immediately moves back into the mountains tonight. This is 2 a.m. Look at the snow across the southern Alps. Look at it's already snowing in Atlanta based off the NAM at 2 a.m. tonight. I don't know if that's going to happen, but we'll see. And then check it out. The bulk of the precipitation is rain, but you can see the backside as cold air is crashing down, trying to switch this rain to heavy, wet snow. Look, it's snowing in Pensacola, 7 o'clock tomorrow morning, 24 hours from now. Okay, it's snowing all the way down to Dothan. It just misses Atlanta. And then look at this, the rain switching to snow through central Georgia. And then look, it tries to switch it to snow even up into Augusta, Columbia, midway tomorrow. And then there's some snow in Charlotte. Greensboro tries to switch to snow here, and then it goes up the coastline. And just to kind of turn it up here and then back it up a little bit here. And here it is. This is getting into tomorrow morning. I mean, the NAM is saying, hey, get ready for a winter storm in New York. So this is sneaking up on us fast, folks. So DC, all of a sudden you're getting a snowstorm. Philadelphia, Baltimore, you're getting a snowstorm. And then it just tries to get up to Boston. Look at this heavy snow over Philadelphia, DC, New York City, Long Island. Look at the snow getting all the way to Boston tomorrow night. And then like a secondary area of snow develops. All right, what about the other NAM? Same thing, move forward. It looks like it tries to switch to snow for a period, like late tonight. This is 1 o'clock in the morning tonight. And then we start to move forward. Look, 4 o'clock in the morning, it tries to switch it to snow in the Greenville, Spartanburg area, Athens down to Macon, Columbus. Excuse me, got some hiccups here. And then the rain tries to switch to snow in like Columbia, Augusta. It's switching to snow, trying to switch to snow as far south as like Valdosta, almost Tallahassee, Florida. So you got this kind of corridor of snow from like Dothan to Panhandle, Florida, all the way through Augusta, Columbia, Charlotte, Greensboro. The NAM just really isn't aggressive with this warm bubble that what the global models are showing. So who's going to win there? And then the system moves away. Now this version of the NAM, we'll have to go back here. It's the same thing. Delivers a quick shot of accumulating snow across the entire I-95 corridor of the Mid-Atlantic and the Northeast. This is 1 o'clock tomorrow. Just, this thing is really coming up on us, guys. So, man, there was something else I want to show you guys too, but I'm kind of brain farting here. So let's talk about what some of these models show. And if you don't live in this area, just skip right ahead. I'm going to literally section out each area that could get accumulating snow. We're going to start off with the deep south, Alabama, Mississippi, and my face might be in the way for southern Alabama and the panhandle here. So this is what the Euro is showing. Okay, I'm not gonna really get detailed like speaking on words here on this. I just, freeze the screen if you need to, but it does show a little bit of snow in Dothan, a couple inches here and there. And then we look at, and I'm going to go back and forth a little bit here. So you're going to see a lot of changing of the screens. So just bear with me. I had to do this because I did not want to pull up a million tabs. The GFS wants to deliver a few inches of snow in southeast Alabama, the Panhandle, Florida down here. Okay, I mean, even in the Tallahassee. Okay, what does say the NAM show for this area? Okay, let's move it forward. All the way out. Yeah, I mean, same thing. Delivers some accumulating snow for southeast Alabama, the Panhandle, Florida. I'll show more of Georgia here in a second. And let's look at one more model run here. Let's look at the EPS from this morning. Okay, this is the blended model guidance here. I'm going to have to switch it down here. And I know there's a lot of back and forth. You guys just bear with me. I really just didn't want to pull up a million tabs. And check it out. 1.5 inch snowfall average between 51 members down here in southeast Alabama. A little bit of a signal up into Montgomery and the Panhandle of Florida. Just wild stuff. Now, let's look at Georgia and South Carolina. This is the latest Euro. All right, it wants to deliver an inch of snow in Macon, Albany, inch or two of snow, kind of between Macon and Valdosta, 1 to 2 inches of snow. Augusta, about 1/2 inch. And then there's that weird bubble right here in Columbia that is tearing your boys' nerves slap up because that is where I live. Beautiful axis of precipitation. Weird warm bubble. It's not weird. I can explain it here in a second. Now, same thing. We'll switch guidance. Let's look at what the GFS is showing. Okay, let's let this load. Let's go all the way out. And here it is. It wants to deliver 5 to 6 inches of snow in Albany, 2 to 4 inches of snow in Valdosta, Statesboro about 3 inches. It almost gets to Savannah, Macon 2 to 3 inches, Augusta 2 to 3 inches of snow. Columbia doesn't have anything showing up, but I mean that's about 1 inch of snow. Greenville, Spartanburg, 1/2 inch to 1 inch. Rock Hill, 1/2 inch. Atlanta, even get some snow back to you guys. Y'all are going to be plenty cold enough for this. You just need the moisture. You need this to keep trending northwest. Okay, and then you look at some of these short range model runs. Let's look at the 3KM. Let's let it load and go all the way out. And yeah, same area. I think areas of Georgia are a lock for some accumulating snow. In fact, there's winter weather advisories up now for central Georgia. 2 to 3 inches of Macon, Albany, same thing. Delivers 1 to 2 inches of snow in Augusta, by 1/2 inch to 1 inch in Columbia, and some snowfall totals in South Carolina, from Rock Hill to Columbia to Greenville down to Augusta, but it really cuts off the coast here. Now, what about, say, the other NAM, the 12KM NAM? Where you at? That is not it. Yeah, so let's look at this, and yeah. So delivers a swath of accumulating snow through here. Kind of the same area, just a little bit further to the north. Gives about 1 inch of snow in Columbia, Augusta 2 inches. But let's look at some of this guidance as far as the. Let's look at the EPS here. What does it show? I know this video is a little bit different. There's a lot of back and forth, a lot of moving around, guys. But I just wanted to do this to avoid pulling up about 1 million tabs. But a few inches of snow. I mean, that's a solid signal off one of the best models in the world, the EPS. And you can see Macon to Statesboro to Augusta, down to Valdosta, Albany, just south of Columbus. There is a nice axis of 1 to as much as 3 inches of wet snow here. There's a signal for South Carolina. It lessens up somewhat. Weird warm bubble, like I mentioned. And then you look at, say, the GFS ensemble. What does it show? Let's go all the way out. And yeah, I mean, it's a nice signal into Columbia. It wants to dump 2 inches of snow into Columbia here. 2 to 3 inches of snow in Augusta. Man, I would just love for that to verify. But you can see the signal is high down here. Okay. Now moving up to North Carolina. What does it show? Well, this is the latest Euro. Likes 1 to 2 inches of snow around Raleigh, Fayetteville. And it's kind of glitched out a little bit more into Charlotte, the 85 corridor, not as much. Okay, there's Virginia up here, Virginia Beach, 1 or 2 inches of snow, and it's just very spotty. But there's another kind of jackpot zone, I would say, right into this region here. Now, let's look at what the GFS is showing. Right here, let's go out in time. Let's bog it back down a little bit. This is out to Wednesday, so that's enough time here. Charlotte dumps 1 to 2 inches of snow on you guys. Raleigh, 4 to 5 inches of snow. Greenville, 1 to 2. Fayetteville, almost 1 inch. And then look, it really highlights Southeast Virginia. It starts lighting you guys up with a few inches of wet snow. Now, same thing. Let's look at what the NAM is showing really quick. I'm just going to look at one NAM here. And let's go all the way out. Okay. And yeah, it shows a couple of inches of snow across the Piedmont, North Carolina. Not near as much of the eastern areas. Richmond gives you guys 2 to 3 inches of snow, but doesn't really deliver any snow for like Virginia Beach, points south across the coastal areas of North Carolina. And then once again, we will take a look at some of these, the EPS here and what it shows. And let's go here and blend this all the way out. And yeah, it really likes Raleigh to Fayetteville to Greenville. Charlotte delivers an inch, Greensboro an inch. So yeah, that's the signal for North Carolina and Virginia. And like I said, it likes Southeast Virginia here. And then the last thing we'll look at here is the GEFS here, the GFS ensemble. We'll go all the way out here. And Charlotte, about an inch. Greensboro, an inch, inch and a half. Raleigh, and 1 to 2 inches of snow. Fayetteville, inch. Greenville, inch and a half. This isn't a locked-in forecast, guys. This is a tough one. This is a tough one. I want to say, hey, this is a forecast, but it's really not. I don't even have the National Weather Service one pulled up. I mean, they're going so conservative that there's really like no point to really pull it up. And I just think that everybody's going to be wrong, and one of these models might be right, but it's just hard. That's why I'm just going over all these individual model runs for you. Now the DC corridor, this is the Euro, so shows a couple inches of snow. All right, this is the GFS. Let's look at this. Let's go all the way out. This is what the GFS is showing. Look, it delivers a nice kind of light to moderate snowstorm across areas of the Tidewater and the Delmarva area. It delivers like a few to several inches of snow across this region. Washington, D.C., 3 to 4. Dover, 4 to 5 inches of snow. And just to look at some blended guidance here, let's look at the EPS, and let's look at this, and go all the way out. And that's the Euro ensemble. It's a pretty solid signal for snow across this region. Pretty solid signal. Okay, let's move forward, and let's look at southern New England. This is the Euro run. This is kind of a mixture between multiple events, but snowfall between now and about 1 a.m. Monday. The Euro's saying, even though there's not much people calling for this kind of stuff, but the Euro's saying, hey, get ready in New York City for a good 3 to 4 inch snowfall event. Boston, 4 to 5. Southern New England, basically anywhere from 2 to 5 inches of snow based off this model run. Now, what about the GFS? What does it show? And this is, let's go all the way out to about Tuesday. And look at this. It says, hey, a sizable, I wouldn't say a sizable, but a moderate snowstorm is on the way for Jersey, Long Island, southern New England. And look, say, hey, man, there's a snowstorm on the way. But listen, there's going to be a lot of scrambling today, guys. Especially if these trends continue. If they kind of come to a stop today, then there might not be a whole lot of that. But there's going to be a lot of scrambling, I think. And this is the Euro ensemble, one of the best things you can look at in the world. 2 to 5 inch mean across these areas, folks. I mean, that's a solid signal for snow. And this is just goes out to 1 a.m. Monday. So your local forecast probably isn't calling for hardly any of this. But that is why we go over new information. I'm not saying that they stink. They're not great at their job. But we're having changes at the last second. It's your classic Northwest trend. And then you look at, the GFS ensemble. And this is what we're seeing here. Same kind of look as the Euro ensemble. And then we look at Maine. And yeah, guys, I mean, it shows a few to several inches of wet snow in the down east areas of Maine, down into, Vermont, New Hampshire. Shows a signal here. And then we look at the GFS, and that's what it shows. Man, look at the heavy snow right off the coastline. So, yeah, just kind of wanted to go over all these individual runs. And one thing I'm going to pull up here on the fly here is the advisories. If you look down here, there are winter weather advisories. Even one county in Alabama has a winter weather advisory, but there are several counties in Georgia that have winter weather advisories. And this is for a half an inch to an inch or more of snow. Are we going to get some extension of these winter weather advisory into South Carolina? I think it's very possible. It depends on what Columbia thinks, Kay. And, they are going to struggle. I think the National Weather Service out of Columbia has one of the toughest forecasts to do out of everybody in the Southeast. The reason being is this, what you're seeing here on your screen. This is kind of, we're going to do a little side segment for my folks here in South Carolina, because I know this is where I started talking weather. It was just for South Carolina, so I know if there's anybody in any state where I have the most followers, the most people tuning in, it's South Carolina. So why is the Euro showing this? And it's bumming your boy out. I'm excited for everybody else and the northwest trend we're getting, but this stinks. I'm going to have to pull up my cursor here on the fly because I accidentally did away with it, my drawing tool. So that's snippet, Mitch. That's snippet. That's not your drawing tool. So we're going to have to do this and this, and all that. Okay? So why are we getting this diabolical look right here? Let me explain. All right? So obviously the green is rain, blue is snow. If you look at the temperatures at 925 millibars, you're like, dude, I don't know what in the world that means. And I was like, man, I don't blame you. I didn't really either until I had to Google search it. That's a couple thousand feet above your head in this area. Like just a couple thousand feet up. All right. This is temperatures in Celsius. So we know 0 degrees Celsius is 32 degrees Fahrenheit. So, obviously, as we're getting into the overnight hours, it's not really cold enough just above the surface for snow. You need it to be 0 degrees Celsius or lower, 32 degrees or lower. Okay, so as we're moving forward here, the cold air aloft is moving in. Aloft meaning above our head. And the surface too, but there's always a lag effect at the surface. So I'll stop it here. This is 6 o'clock in the morning tomorrow morning. You can probably see it already without me explaining it. But there is kind of a nudge right here where cold air is kind of making its way through here and cold air is diving into Georgia better. But there is kind of a lag right here. And that is because the cold air is coming directly from the northwest. So this is the warm bubble I'm talking about. The cold air isn't able aloft to really get down into the Midlands of South Carolina. It even struggles in the upstate and the rest of South Carolina as fast. So you get it right here, and you already have temperatures that are a couple degrees below freezing, a couple thousand feet up in Georgia. Same thing in the Piedmont of North Carolina up into Virginia. But, at around 9 o'clock in the morning when some of our best precipitation is moving in, you're still a degree or two above freezing a couple thousand feet up. And a half a degree, folks, makes all the difference. So if you switch this back to the precipitation outlook for around the same time frame, okay, let's back it up a little bit. For around the same time frame, that's not going to get the job done for snow. Okay, let's back it up a little bit. This is, I was a little bit too forward. Right here. Okay, this is 10 o'clock in the morning. It's all rain across South Carolina based on what this is showing. This is also 10 o'clock in the morning. Okay, it is just starting to get cold enough air aloft into the Midlands of South Carolina. And because we have trended this northwest, it's benefited a lot of people. But we've also trended warm air further northwest. So, somebody's wins is somebody's losses, and a lot of people's wins on this might be your boy's loss. So, I don't know if this is exactly going to be the way it happens. I think the NAM in about an hour is going to come out. It's probably going to come out warmer too. But it's just how it is when you live in the armpit of hell in South Carolina. That's what I call it here. So, and you look at temperatures, they're just marginal. When you have the precipitation moving in, it's only in the low 40s, and then it crashes into the 30s right as the precipitation is leaving. I don't know if this is exactly the way it's going to happen. But, man, model runs, a lot of model guides really likes that. So, looking at the longer range here, I think there's hope for anybody that misses tomorrow. And we start off by looking at the upper pattern, okay? You got the ridging, the higher heights, and the warmer looking colors, the reds and the pinks, things like that. Lower heights, lower pressure, troughs, and the blues, the cooler colors, and the greens embedded into the blues. So as you get into around, this is Monday, you got a big trough, digging down across areas of the country. What is that doing? Well, that's bringing in a lot of cold air as this ridge dislodges that cold air into this dip in the jet. So this is going to bring a big shot, a reinforcing shot of cold air next week. And as that moves forward, after that, we might have a little bit of a zonal ridge that kind of pops up over the southern tier of the country. This could briefly warm us up next week, but we are already trending away from that. And all of a sudden, ridge tries to build, but it's immediately replaced by another trough that doesn't really move. It just kind of goes back to the north a little bit, but then it kind of extends itself to the south again right here. And guys, I can't tell you how cold of a look this is. This is a bowled out deep trough, unleashing consistent Arctic air down into the pattern right here. So this is a time frame I am watching across the east, late next week into next weekend, really getting onward actually. But even in this time frame, if you look at the multi-run trend, 3-run trend, well, yeah, we've actually backed it up a little bit. Make sure I'm in the right thing here. Yeah, let's see here. Did I go backwards here? Yeah, let's look. Okay. Hold on, guys. If we look at the multi-run trend here, I'm all over the place. Let's see what it shows. Yeah, okay, so I think I did it in reverse there. So you can see this trough not necessarily extending further to the south, but it's trending further to the east, just ever so slightly. So that's interesting. So that might abruptly end any kind of big warm-up. I wouldn't say big in the first place, but any kind of warm-up that we might have across areas of the southern tier of the country next week. But let's go on and switch this and look back at this because it's the only thing that we have that we can extend further out. As we move forward, I still think we get a warm-up sometime next week and across the southeast, potentially. And then immediately it's replaced by a heavy signal. Guys, this is a building signal for a very cold shot of air across the east and a strong winter storm pattern. Now, at first, if you're a weather nerd like me, you might look at this and immediately think, Mitch, that's a cold and dry look. The trough is positioned too far to the east. But you don't look at this as a grand conclusion. You look at this and you say, okay, what is the trend? And look, just the 2-run trend, you can see how this trough inches to the west. So I think this is a big time frame to watch out for winter weather. And then going onward, who knows what's going to happen. So with all this troughing that digs down to the country, of course, we got a blast of cold air early next week we just mentioned. Might get a little warm up across the southern tier of the country, but immediately late next work week, the cold air moves back in. Colder air is indicated in the blues and the greens and the Barney colors you see on the map. This is well below average temperatures in the peak climo time of the year. Late January, mid-late January is the coldest time of the year across, as far as your average lows and highs across the country. And then more cold air. I mean, guys, this is a crazy looking gradient for the 7 to 10 day range. I mean, this is extremely cold Arctic air right here, clashing up against some warmer than average air across the southern tier of the country. But watch how all the cold air oozes to the south 10 days out. And then we develop this very cold and what I think is going to be very wintry pattern across the central and especially the eastern U.S. to round off January. I mean, that is about as strong of a cold signal that you can get across the east that far out off the Euro ensemble. It's very impressive. So winter is not going anywhere. Now, if you do look at some of these individual model runs, what about, winter storm chances? I'm going to breeze through this quick because none of this is a lock. We start out Wednesday morning and we move forward here and we get into Thursday. We get into Friday of next week, and then we get into next weekend. There's a winter weather event breaking out next weekend, next Saturday across the Midwest. Okay, we continue to move forward here, and anything else showing up, we start to get into no man's land. It's very far out. And there's another system that blows up really far out. It's not really a big deal, because it's so far out. The GFS, what does it show? I want to watch this event towards the end of next work week. This could do something across the Mid-South. But then we get into the weekend, and we get a clashing of air masses, and we get into next Saturday, and there's that system showing up on the Euro. Okay, shows up on the GFS too. We got to watch that across the Midwest. Anything else? Wintry mess showing up across Texas about 10 days from now. Not a forecast, but it does show a big winter storm breaking out across the south central U.S., the Mississippi Valley. Not a forecast, and then it goes on to become a winter storm in the eastern U.S., and after that, no man's land. Euro across the eastern U.S., here we go. We need to watch this event later this work week. Could bring some snow across the Tennessee area in the Mid-South. Can some dots connect for a coastal? Absolutely. We'll have to watch it. And then we get into next weekend, into early the week after, the last week of January. This is the 25th. And we got to watch this system. It kind of gets sheared apart, weakens, and then it kind of gets going again here. A lot of moisture, and then we get past day 10, and then the pattern looks extremely cold. The Euro just shows an extremely deep shot of cold air, but doesn't show any moisture with it. But I mean, that's just one run. The GFS, it's more aggressive with this system late next work week. We'll have to watch it. No reason to hyper focus on it for now. And then here comes that storm system signal for next weekend across the Midwest, getting into the Ohio Valley. Shows a big snowstorm across areas of the upper mid-Atlantic, the Northeast, and then we get 10 days out. This gets into that time frame of interest I'm really watching for the South, and it shows a big winter storm across the South. A lot of ice in the pink and the orange, blue snow, and then it rides up the coastline, becomes a mini nor'easter. So, you got the Euro AI model runs too, guys. I mean, they're lock and loaded with this. There's your system this coming weekend moving across. Of course, this is just going to show precipitation, but that is snow up here, winter weather up here. And then we get into next week. We get into the last week of January. It's the 25th, 26th, 27th. And the Euro AI model shows a winter storm too. The GFS AI model shows it also, but that is a winter storm across areas of the South. Okay. In fact, you look at the snowfall clown map here, and you can see it brings snow all the way down to Atlanta, Columbia, Charlotte. Man, that was a mouthful this morning, guys. I don't know if I'm going to do it the same way tonight. I might just kind of take more of a broad look at those snowfall graphics. But hey, that's all I got, guys. Pulling for everybody in the South. We'll give you another update tonight, and hopefully I'll have some better news for us here in South Carolina, especially here in Central South Carolina. God bless all y'all. Have a wonderful day. And I almost forgot. Nope, can't forget my Bible devotion. Let's make this our timestamp right here. Ooh, almost forgot. Almost forgot about you, Jesus. This morning we're in Ephesians chapter 5, verse 15 through 17. It says, "Pay careful attention then to how you live, not as unwise people, but as wise, making the most of the time because the days are evil. So don't be foolish, but understand what the Lord's will is." So I wrote where it says pay careful attention. I think this is a great verse on spiritual awareness. You should always evaluate your thoughts and actions. An example, me, I do that every day, and I fail at it every day. And I think we all do. We all sin. But sometimes after I do something I probably shouldn't have done, or handled something the way I shouldn't have done it, or said something I shouldn't have said, I always think back on it and I said, yeah, you probably shouldn't have handled it that way. And I feel like that's the Holy Spirit talking to you. So I really think God really speaks to you right before you're about to do those things. At least I know He does for me. It's like God says, okay, I'm going to give you an opportunity right here to not do what you're about to do that you know you're not supposed to do. Are you going to take it? And we fail every day at that, right? I mean, but we can't get discouraged. We just got to continue to fight to get better. So constantly seek the guidance needed in this life from God. When you do this, your walk will be aligned with God's will. Make the most of your time. This is our mission field. Utilize what you are given to help lead others to Christ. We all have gifts, guys. Some people go their entire life without even trying to really, I'm trying to use the right word for this. I'm not great with words. My wife picks on me all the time, but really try to fine-tune their gifts and then utilize their gifts. That's kind of the final stage. And then you can be the bridge from connecting someone that doesn't know the Lord to knowing the Lord, bringing others to Christ. So utilize those gifts. Stand up for your faith. That's all I got. God bless all y'all. Have a wonderful day. And we'll talk to you tonight.